Hey guys, so I'm gonna wait for some people to get in. We're on watch right now. We've been notified that it appears that they may have recovered Taylen Mosley. So we're we're waiting for official confirmation as we're speaking. I'm monitoring, waiting official confirmation. Did you see the presser coming? So we're going to be having a presser here in just a few. Let me go ahead and see if I can get that pulled up. Um, da, 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 da. Give me just a moment. So we're going to be monitoring um, as we're waiting for this story breaking. We're going to monitor the chat so we can get that presser, guys. I'm not hearing anything good. I'm just going to forewarn you. It doesn't look good. And that was, when I was out there, I have to be honest with you, I was hopeful. Um, but when I realized that it was his father that went to the hospital, that kind of did it for me, because if the child wasn't with his father and his mother's deceased, it just, and again, this hasn't been officially announced yet. We're just listening, we're hearing, people are funneling information right now, and we're going to be waiting for the press conference. It could be great news. It could be great news, and maybe the lines were crossed and they didn't. Um, they found him safely, and maybe I'm getting bad information, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. So, and it's just sad. It's just sad. So we're just sitting here waiting to see if anything's going to be coming out. If you guys are looking on your channel, if you have multiple screens, up here we are. We're live. Let me go ahead. Guys, it's about to happen here. Let me find us. So I'm going to take this. It's on. We're listening or waiting for it to come live. But until then, I'm going to take this off the screen. We will hear it as it comes live. But guys, I'm just going to forewarn you, before we hear this, that is as much hope as we want to have. It might not be that way at this moment. I think this is not going to be good. I'm going to tell you. Um, I don't think this is going to end good. His family seemed. We watched that press conference. Got a light bulb going out. We watched that press conference earlier, and his family just they seemed devastated. His aunt was just absolutely devastated. Her sister gone, her nephew missing, grandma, just pleading with whoever, let's bring him home safe. He's already lost his mom, and like, as I'm talking about this, I'm literally getting goosebumps, and it's like I'm trying to hold back my emotions on this case right now. I really am the innocent of the most innocent, and just, we're hearing about this so often anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm in true crime, if I'm paying attention to it, but Lord have mercy, these are babies. These are just babies. Um, but I'm just going to forewarn my audience right now. I know today has been a rough day for all of us. Primarily Marissa, she is going through something that is just horrific at this moment, and we just want to uplift her with good karma, good vibes out there, prayers. This weekend, as you spend time with your family, maybe pick up the phone. Maybe, I'm fortunate. I have this channel. My mom calls in regularly. I'm very fortunate that my mom's here. And I know many people out there have lost their mom, including our friend Dolly. And it's very, very, very hard And then on the heels of that, we're most likely going to find out pretty bad news here in just a few. And that light is just going in and out. Thank goodness I just bought bulbs. Let me go turn the other one on. Why aren't you working? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, I can hold you out. That's why you're not working. All right, there we go. Now we have some light. Now we have some light. So we've got I'm on the other side running and watching significant updates on the search of Taylen Mosley at this time. We're waiting for the press conference to get started. Maybe
good afternoon, folks. JB here with you live in the Stream Center. Actually, good evening to most of our audience joining us in the East Coast or in the Central Time Zone. We have learned that there is going to be an 8:15 press conference, a sudden press conference that was just announced with what is being described as a significant update in the search for missing 2-year-old Taylen Mosley. We have just now gotten access to the feed. Stand by for live coverage here on WFLA Now. Again, an 8:15 press conference that will begin in approximately 12 minutes from now.
So this is significant. I'm hoping, you know what? No, I think it's going to be horrible news. I really do. I really do. If the person is that's been keeping me updated and monitoring is watching this, I just don't want to call you out because of the stuff today going on, and I don't want you being brought into all that. I just want to give a big shout out to you and say thank you for keeping me updated on the case. This is just sad. This is a person that I was just talking to. We had a group. Guidance was organizing a group. We were all going to go out and volunteer our time tomorrow to help search for this baby boy. And this is just not sounding good. What I'm hearing in the back channels is just not sounding good. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I have a funny feeling. This is just, I don't know what to say. So let's just go over this for the people that are tuning in that don't know what this case is really about. So yesterday we were getting notification that we all got an Amber Alert. If you were in Florida or across this country, I don't know how the Amber Alerts, but I'm pretty sure it's not just statewide. I think the Amber Alert goes further, but if it was just statewide, we all in the state of Florida received an Amber Alert for a little 2-year-old boy that was missing out of Pinellas County. And when we started researching it, because it started going off literally while we were on a live yesterday. So we switched gears and started talking about this case right at the end of yesterday's live. And I was going to get up and go out there, but I thought it said South St. Petersburg. And it wasn't. It was North St. Petersburg. And I didn't feel like being out in South St. Petersburg because it was already, by the time I got off the live and was getting ready, it was already 6 o'clock. And I knew it was going to take me roughly an hour to get there at that time of night. And by the time I got there, it had been 7:30, depending on traffic, if there was no accidents. And it was going to be dark. And I just really didn't want to be out there all by myself at night. And even if there's news crews out there, there's no guarantee that those news crews are going to.
Good afternoon, folks. Again, good afternoon to some of you. Good evening and good night to most. JB here with you live on WFLA Now in the Stream Center. Heading back in for.
Okay, I'm turning that.
Missing 2-year-old Taylen Mosley out of Tampa Bay, Florida. Specifically.
There, I'm going to mute this. Oh no, I paused that. Hold on, sorry.
Out of St. Petersburg, you see expected update as far as what is going.
So the reason why I muted it is because I am literally watching it on my screen below. So as soon as they get up to the podium, we'll go live. I'm not that I just want the press conference, not the commentary. So where was I? So we learned that this little boy, so I didn't get a chance to go out there. I chose to take the side of caution and safety. and got up early this morning and got out to the scene where the murder had taken place. His mother, Passion Jeffrey, lost her life. So the good news is by the time I did get out there this morning, there was a little more information released. And one part of the information almost implied that the boy's father was cooperating with law enforcement because the law enforcement knew that the father did not have the boy. The one thing that they had left out of that earlier statement from yesterday evening was that the father was at the hospital, and that would have been crucial because that would have really been a red flag for me that he checked himself into the hospital literally shortly after a commotion was heard coming from her apartment. But I also, based off of the information, we talked about all the possibilities of how this would happen and what the reasons, or i.e. motive of this case would be. And while we were out there, it was a good neighborhood. It was a peaceful, quiet neighborhood. All the people that, when I was there, people were walking to school. It was just, everybody seemed very kind, polite, just a good area, an area that we would all enjoy living in, quite frankly, really. And so over at and I'm looking around while we're talking, we're all snowballing. You guys are putting stuff into the chat, everything like that. So we're looking at, up and at cameras, and I noticed that there's a 7-Eleven across the street. I noticed that all four of the two going east and west, the two going north and south, all had traffic cameras on the top of them. And I'm like, this is not something, in my opinion, that was pre-planned prior to this person going to the house. And if it was pre-planned prior to that person going in the house, they didn't do a good job, because there's so many cameras around there that it would be stupid. So I was talking about it being most likely a crime of passion or a crime of opportunity. So a crime of passion being a jilted lover, an ex, potentially the father, and the crime of opportunity, such as robbery, soft target. Maybe somebody knew she had something valuable in the home. So we were looking and talking about different perspectives of what possibly could have happened, because we had learned this morning that there was the commotion in her. We heard, or we're told, around 9:30 when we talked to the police chief, and they had more facts and more reliable information. They walked that time back just slightly to say about 8:45. And then he showed up, the father showed up at his mother's house with cuts on his arms, scrapes on his arms. And apparently the cuts were so serious, he needed to check himself into the hospital. And so we speculated on that factual information and said, what would really cause, cuts or abrasions, so much so that you had to go to the hospital. And so now it kind of, a brutal scene inside the home, a man going that was connected to that woman, and that boy, being that boy's father, has checked himself into a hospital for lacerations and deep cuts. So I even went as far to say, as I believe that he most likely used a knife as the weapon for this crime, because really the only times I've ever seen cuts, so to speak, more so, in need of going to the hospital, are cuts deep enough that need stitches or staples to fix, because it will not stop bleeding. And the only time I see cuts that deeply in a situation like this is by a knife. Now, does that mean that anybody that has a cut on their hand used a knife? Of course not. That's not what I'm saying. But we had a little more information to make that leap. We knew that there was an altercation in that home. He went to his mother's house. His hands were badly injured, so much so he had to go to the hospital. And when we found out what those injuries were, it was later just described as cuts. And so we all in the true crime know that blood is like motor oil. So that means when you're stabbing somebody, that blood gets on the handle of that knife, making that knife very slippery. So your hand has a tendency to go down on the blade, causing really deep cuts and lacerations on your hand, on the inside primarily of your hand. Now, that is just speculative. That is just my theory based on what I heard and trying to connect the puzzle pieces together. Does that mean that that's true and that is what happened? No, it doesn't. We're going right now to this press conference.
Sadness, I have to inform you here today that Taylen's body has been found. It is my condolences going out to the family and to his loved ones. We are sorry that it had to end this way. Through investigative technique, we were able to find an area around Dell Holmes Park that led the investigators to that area. The detectives had been there all afternoon, and while they were there, they were spotted an alligator with an object in his mouth. As the detective got closer, they fired one round to the alligator. The alligator dropped the object that he had in his mouth, and we were able to retrieve Taylen's body intact. The father, Thomas Mosley, is now being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. I can tell you now that Taylen's mom, Miss Jeffries, her body was stabbed multiple times.
Bingo.
Until the medical examiner has a chance to look at Taylen's body, we cannot tell you the cause of death. I would like to thank all the law enforcement agencies that assisted us today or since Wednesday, and a special thanks to our detectives here at St. Pete Police Department. These men and women have worked tirelessly since Wednesday at 2:30 trying to find Taylen for a better outcome. But again, that didn't happen. Needless to say, tomorrow we don't need the volunteers to come out to assist us in looking for Taylen, but I just want to again thank everybody for volunteering to come out to help us. With that, remember this is an ongoing investigation, so I will try to answer some of your questions.
And after almost 2 days of looking for little Taylen, I know you've had so many crews on the ground searching, brought in, all hands on deck, like you said. I mean, this has got to be tough for your team to see things end like this on Friday.
It's very tough because these men and women, again, since Wednesday at 2:30, they've been working tirelessly trying to find Taylen. And we didn't want to find him this way, but at least we can bring some closure to that family now. Again, there's emotions up and down because as they're doing investigating, they're following up the leads that we were hoping that we could find him alive. So these detectives and these law enforcement agency officers, they go through a lot. And tomorrow, guess what? They got to start all over again doing something else. But my hat off to these men and women for being able to do this. At this time, we're not going to talk about that. Again, we're still doing this ongoing investigation.
If someone spoke with you at all, kind of what was the reaction to once that alligator is shot, to seeing that as a human body that the alligator had, if the officer that found him was able to speak to that?
I'm sorry, you're asking about.
I guess, what was the reaction, I guess, to seeing the human body in an alligator's mouth after that shot was fired?
Well, I can't tell you that. Just think about anybody. The officer sees a body of a child. What would be your reaction to that? What would you think? So that officer, he or she they've been working since Wednesday, and they see a child in an alligator's mouth. So they got to do their job, but at the same time, I can't tell you their reaction. I can tell you probably a lot of emotion went through their body, but they still had to do their job.
How does one separate the job and the emotion, if that's even possible?
These men and women do it each and every day. They come to work, they investigate a case. They got to put a case together to make sure that Mosley get convicted of this. So they got to do their job on that. And they do it. They do it quite well.
Chief, are those 2 counts of first-degree murder? Is that one for passion, one for Taylen, or what are those counts for? Is he charged with both of their deaths or just passion's death?
He's charged with both of their deaths. 1 count for passion and 1 count for Taylen.
But
But you said the cause of death for the child is still pending, right? So we don't know if he was deceased before he went into the lake or after.
That is correct. So that's what we're trying to determine.
And then where is this lake in relation to the apartment complex?
So how far away is that?
It's miles.
It's several miles.
So it
It's-
doesn't have to be an intentional act, not like he just wandered out.
So let's just give you an example. Where the incident happened is way out on Gandy in 4, Lake McGorry is at 22nd south.
Is any Wydell Home Park, is that where the father lives?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and through investigation technique, we were able to zone in on that area.
And Chief, we heard that Mosley went to the hospital with cuts. Can you tell us if there was a fight back from Passion, if she was stabbed by him?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and all I can tell you, like I said, when he went to check himself into the hospital, he had cuts to his hands and to his arms.
Do we know if he's still in the hospital?
He is still there.
Since your last update, has he said anything to you? Or has he said anything about anything?
When the detectives went out and spoke to him, he didn't want to talk to the detectives, and then later on, he asked for an attorney.
You said police fired a round at the alligator. Have you taken the alligator in at all, or is the alligator back in the lake?
The alligator was killed.
Alligator was killed. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
You ain't lying. That chief is one hot papa. He is one hot papa. And you know what? It all comes down to why the kid? Why the kid? The kid was found several miles away from the apartment where his mother was murdered. That is not a child walking off and walking into a pond. He was either killed before he went in that water, or he was just slung in that water and left to drown. Those are the only two options, period. And some people, we always talk in here about, things happen for a reason. We don't know why things happen the way they happen, but things happen for a reason. And I find it awfully ironic that they were there at the right place at the right time when an alligator finally brought him out so he could be put to rest. It's sad that alligators are alligators. That alligator didn't do anything wrong. The alligator didn't deserve to lose his life either. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, a human being trumps a reptile. I'm sorry, it just does. But I told you, I was already hearing, and again, I just want to shout out to the person that sent me that information and put me on notice. I don't want to, because of all the chaos here on YouTube, I don't see it being any, serving any purpose to provide that person's name, although I want to give them credit for the great work that they did on getting us the information so we could go live as soon as possible. And we were able to break this story right before even WFLA was able to get this up. So again, that's a big feat. And we were planning on getting out there. We were planning on going out there. We were planning on searching. There was going to be multiple people, and we were hopeful that we didn't find them. I mean, really, when we're looking in bushes and swamps and stuff like that, we're looking for a deceased child in most cases. So we were, obviously don't want him in a pond. I'd love to find him like JJ Rollins, but that's not the case for this beautiful boy that is now with his mom. So at least we can at least have some peace, as horrible as that sounds, to know that JJ will forever be with Taylen will forever be with his mother. And exactly, Susan, exactly. That's why that police chief was hot. He was not playing. And it's like, That, you know, I know reporters have to ask questions. They need to get their questions on the record. That's what they're being paid to do. And I think it was in poor taste to ask, how is it like for those officers to find it? I think he was wanting a more sympathetic type of response, but it's like, you know, what do you think? And I say this all the time about law enforcement. I mean, they have children themselves. They have kids themselves. These are real people that have families and are looking and just can't understand how another human being can do it. You know what I'm saying? How can another human being do this to another human being, to another person that they love? I mean, this was his legacy, and he snuffed his own legacy out. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Dolly? The poor little boy was found deceased. He was found several miles away from his home, so he clearly didn't get there walking. So he was dumped, and it's just sad. It really is. I don't even know how to even process this, to be honest with you. There's so much ugly in this world. There's so much ugly in this world. And for parents to continuously do this to their own children, it's making me sick. It's making me flippin' sick. They did finally confirm that Passion was killed by multiple stab wounds. That was confirmed today. And what else? This is what you missed, Dolly. You know how they found the boy? A gator had him in its mouth, swimming in the pond. They had to shoot the freaking gator and kill the gator to get the baby boy. But thank God, the good news is thank God that baby boy was intact. That's what the chief said, is that baby boy was still intact. So that is the best news ever. The worst news of this is that the baby boy, which he didn't have that, what was that little 2-year-old going to say? That 2-year-old probably barely could talk. Yes, Dolly, I am not lying. I am not lying. A gator was swimming with that baby in its mouth. But you know what? Things happen for a reason. If that gator wasn't swimming with that baby, would that baby have been found? So now they're not alleging. They did say the father, the father of that boy, has now been charged with 2 counts of first-degree homicide, and he's still at the hospital. They talked about some of the wounds he had, and they were cuts and scratches all up on his arms and hands. They said on his arms and hands. And so one of the questions was, do they think, of course, that girl? I'm sorry, but Passion didn't look. She looked like a fun girl, but she didn't look like somebody you wanted to mess with. So I think that girl put up a damn big fight. I bet my bottom dollar Passion put up a fight like no other woman. I guarantee it. She was fighting for her life and fighting for her baby. And she looked like somebody you did not want. Yeah. And he had the audacity to go to the hospital. Kills his ex and his own son, and fails, and then he cuts himself so bad. And like I said, the reason why I thought it was stabbing was because of the cuts on his hands. They had to be so deep that he went to the hospital. We called it whenever we had that information released to us earlier today, and that is the fact. She was stabbed, and now they're looking with this baby being in the gator's mouth. If he did have any type of wounds on his body, they wouldn't be able to determine that those were knife wounds unless the autopsy is done to confirm that, because obviously he was in a gator's mouth, and they're going to have to determine what punctures are gator teeth and what punctures are knife wounds, if any, because he may not have killed him that way. There's other ways he may not have been able to do it. He may have suffocated him. He may have just tossed him into the pond alive and let him drown, not caring. It's sad. And when we found out the father didn't have them, it was this morning. It appeared, with all intents and purposes, the way the reports were reading, that the father was being cooperative, and it wasn't until later this afternoon, much earlier than just now, but the press conference that was earlier this afternoon, where the chief asked for the volunteers to come out to help search for the boy. They disclosed at that time that the father was not being cooperative and was in the hospital, and finally stated some of the things that happened, some of the timeline, where we originally were told it was 9:30, that there was a commotion over in the house. That was brought back to about 8:45, with him showing up at his mom's house at 10:15 with these cuts and scratches and deep wounds on his arms and his hands. So much so that he had to go to the hospital, and then he stopped cooperating with the police department or with the investigation in its entirety. And so the police chief wanted all the volunteers to come out and search for him. They knew he was out there. But I can tell you, when they start having a search for him like that, especially it being post 48 hours, they're no longer looking for, or the chances of them looking for the person alive are so slim. And they know that. Law enforcement knows the statistics when it comes to these types of cases, and statistics are statistics, and we can't get away from them. Like I said, when we found out that this afternoon, when we were running that report this afternoon on my my live, which was about, the drug thug, the drug thug. So when we were running the report on wannabe drug thug, it was breaking that there was a news presser right at the end of that. So we were able to catch it. And then with that new information, I already started warning the audience that this is probably not going to turn out to be good, because if they thought he was a primary suspect and he didn't show up with the boy to his mom's house, that's never a good sign. Mom's dead, dad doesn't have kid. That's not a good sign. And so you have to use, common sense. We still always want to have hope, but we also want to be optimistic, but we also want to be realistic and set realistic expectations on here. And unfortunately, it turned out not to be good. So guys, I just wanted to tell you, we've got, today was a really sad day for the streets of YouTube. Marissa's mom passed away, and now we find out that baby Taylen is not going to be able to come home safely to his family that was just dying to have him back, because he had just lost his mother in such a brutal way. I can tell you from what I was hearing that Passion was a great mom, loved her child immensely. She had a wonderful family. She had a great support system. This is a really just truly a tragedy, a senseless tragedy that was so preventable. And there is no reason, absolutely no reason, to ever injure a child. We all know that. And it's very hard for us to fathom how somebody can actually do this, not only to a child, but their own child. I don't know if any of us will ever understand that, or understand how somebody can do that. It's beyond comprehension. It truly is beyond comprehension. So we're just, we need to just say prayers. You're right, Robin. This world is getting sicker and sicker. It's getting scary. It's getting really, really scary. And I know some people don't want to believe, but I'm telling you, this world needs God. This world needs God. When people were praying and people were going to church and those church pews were filled, we didn't have this nonsense going on in our country. And when we did have this nonsense, it was very limited. It wasn't every day. It wasn't every week. It wasn't every month of the year. It just wasn't. If you guys got away from the church, we do online church here. We started, we had Sheila as well as Mike Stevens at online church. We were all in a group together. It was really nice. If you guys, want to join us on Sunday, we'll watch it together. I'll give you guys the link. I usually post the link in the community tab, and then we go over there. It's nice. You know, I really think that we could really use it. And if you guys would like to join me, you know, this Sunday, I'll post the link and we can go over there and enjoy church service together. But I really think that we need to start promoting more wholesome stuff. I mean, even some of the things I do, you know, sometimes, you know, every now and again I get hot under the collar and I show my behind, you know, and I regret it, and I have to pray for that, and I have to repent for that. But I think we could all use God. Not all of us are perfect, but this world is getting crazier and crazier, and I think we can all agree with that. This is sick. Let's be honest. A mother brutalized. We're going to find out it's over something stupid, something petty, something temporary with a permanent solution that cost a mom and her 2-year-old son their life senselessly. Lots of stuff going on, babes. Lots of stuff going on. I'm sorry. I'm glossing over a few people. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, I'm so frustrated and upset about this. It's this poor baby. I just can't. This precious, yes, the precious baby. Go out to that thumbnail. Look at that beautiful baby's face. Like, I bet you he loved his dad. I bet you his dad probably treated him like garbage, and all he wanted to do was probably see his dad and hug his dad. It's just sick, and it literally tears me to pieces. I have to be honest with you. It tears me to pieces. Like, seriously, why the baby? I think we're all going to continue to say that. But there you goes, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We've been online quite a bit. I'm glad we were able to break this to you first and let you know that Taylen Mosley has been recovered, and it's just a really sad day here on the streets of YouTube. Please keep Taylen's family in your prayers, and also Marissa's family in your prayers, as she just lost her mother. So just a really sad day, you know, and it really does, you know, push the point that tomorrow may never come. So live your life right today. You know, if you guys haven't called that family, that friend, your mom, your dad, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, maybe now would be a great time to pick up the phone, call them, let them know that you love them, let them know that you miss them. And, you know, it's been a day. Yes, Justice. It has absolutely been a day. And I was really hopeful. But, you know, what we can do now is just pray for justice to be swift and justice to be strong. But what I can say is his daddy done messed the F up. He's in the state of Florida, baby. And I can tell you, we here in the state of Florida, we don't play with baby killers. We don't play with baby killers at all. And if this DA wants to lower this penalty for what this man has done and not be presenting him with the death penalty, you bet your butt I will be protesting in Pinellas County. This man and what he did deserves the death penalty. And baby, Florida is a death penalty state. So we're going to pray to God that the state attorney does the right thing. You know, now that's if what they say is true. Now, if this, because you don't have to make a long plan to kill somebody. You can go over there, be getting in an argument and just realize you're going to kill him. In that split second, you made the decision, you pre-planned picking up that knife and killing that person. They have some type of evidence that leads them to believe that this is a first-degree murder charge. That means premeditated, as opposed to second-degree murder. And so I do believe that there was some sort of premeditation. To what extent, I don't know. If he really did plan this and went there with all those cameras, what an idiot. But what an idiot to kill somebody so close. I'm telling you right now, you're more likely to be killed by somebody. We're taught from you know, kindergarten on up, stranger danger, walk with the buddy system, all this other stuff. And when you look at the statistics, like I look at the statistics now as an adult, and I think how foolish. Not one time have they ever told me I'm more likely to be killed by my parents than I am by a stranger. Not one time have I ever heard that growing up. But now that I'm an adult and I'm in this business and I look at these statistics, that's the reality of it. And that to me is pretty stinking sick. It's just sad, Bella Ann. It really is. It's just a sad day. All right, guys. Well, I think I've had enough of the BS for today. We'll be doing the coffee club from the office tomorrow. I almost got it cleaned back up. Holy crap. Hold on one second. There was an update that I did want to give you guys. And if you guys are patient with me, I will give you an update. We have this case. Oh, that's not it. Shoot, where is it? Trent. It's in Georgia. I'm trying to find it now. I gotta find the information on it. If you guys can just give me a second. Okay, and I can't pronounce his name. It's like Lercamp or something like that. So this is a case coming out of Georgia. We've been talking about it briefly on this channel, and he was, the police tried to say that this was a hazing. Well, Brian Enton did a story on this particular case. He just did it about a day ago, kind of breaking it down, where he said this is not a simple hazing ritual gone wrong. This was pure torture for this young man. And they have video and photo. How stupid, I know, right? So this is being investigated. Police are begging the community to calm down because the community is absolutely outraged that this can happen to a young boy. And still 8 days later, not one of those frat boys, not one of those people that were seen peeing on him and doing these horrible things to him have even been arrested. And so there is actually going to be a protest in his honor to bring awareness to his case on Saturday. And I wanted to make sure that everybody had this information, and I will be providing it tomorrow morning in my coffee club. And this is for everybody that my Georgia family that's out there, the Georgia Bullhorn Betty family that's out there. If you guys would like to go out there and support this young man and support his family, please do so. This is a peaceful protest. I will not be able to attend this because I have another engagement for a nonprofit fundraiser here in Manatee County Saturday evening. And so I'm just unable to attend that. Otherwise, I absolutely 100% would be there to support this family and to support this young man. But I do plan on traveling in the area sometime next week. I'm trying to figure out my schedule for next week, but we may go ahead and go on out there and start reviewing this case and bringing more awareness to Trenton's case for the social media side of things. And just to let you guys know, give me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And it's going to be 1 p.m. Saturday at Neptune Park on St. Simon's Island next to the pier. And this is, again, it's an organized, peaceful protest for this young man that was basically tortured by his fraternity, or as he was trying to get into that fraternity. I'm a little sketchy on the situation because I've been covering other cases and haven't been able to put a lot of time into this. But somebody reached out to me to let me know about this protest to see if I would be willing or if I was going And I had to explain to them, I wish I could. However, I have another engagement that I'm already committed to, which is putting my schedule in conflict, and I won't be able to make it, but we can definitely go out there. It sounds like the kid is doing better. Trenton is doing better. He's out of ICU. He's got a long road ahead of him. He's not out of the woodworks yet, but he's out of ICU, and that is huge progress for that young man. He is lucky to be alive. He's going to have, he's got to do a lot of work, not only physically, but mentally. That had to have been quite scary for him. It had to have been quite scary for his family. And to still think that after him being tortured in such the brutal way and disgusting, humiliating way that he was, nobody still is arrested, even though there's videos out there, there's photographs out there. It really is pretty horrific. So guys, that's it. We'll dive into that case a little more in the morning, but if you are interested in supporting that family, going and supporting him, again, this is peaceful, and it is organized by a third party out there for the family, for him. If you want to be there, again, the details are, and we will talk about this again first thing in the morning at 1 p.m. Saturday at Neptune Park on St. Islands Island next to the pier. So if you are familiar with that area, that is where it's at. A Stoner's thought one of the kids' dads is a cop. Well, what do you know? And there you have it. And there you have it. But you know what? Yes, it is sad for Taylen. It is sad for Taylen and Passion. And I pray to God that this world starts getting God, because we could really use God right now. This is sad. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. We've had a long day today, and I need some rest. I was going to be in bed right now because I was going to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to start making my way into the area and hopefully do some pre-light surveillance, like surveilling the area and seeing where the primary areas that I would have considered searching. When I was talking to a team member, we were discussing locations, and we knew that the father had left that house and was heading to his mom's house. So we were actually not going to actually be searching that immediate area with the rest of the searchers. We were going to be following the trail back to Mosley's house, where he went, his mother's house. We were going to be following that and start looking at the areas over there, because we had a suspicion that he was not in that area where his mom died, that he was probably dumped on his way to his mom's house. And so, her and I decided that was kind of going to be the area, checking the trash cans, checking the ponds, checking the area. And it's just sad to think that we might have stumbled upon him at some point. But with that gator, that was a split-second thing. If they weren't right there at the right time, that baby boy could have been under in a gator's den. And that's just, like I said, things happen for a reason. And thank God that gator had that boy and was swimming while the officers were there. Otherwise, it is my belief that that boy would have never been found, and that's just sad. So good day, have a good night, and don't forget to tell your family that you love them. And for my family that's watching me, I just want to tell you I love you. And for my audience, I love you too. If nobody told you today that they love you, I love you. You matter to me. God bless, and have a good night.